What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show on this fine Monday evening. So, what are we going to be covering today? Well, one of the things we're going to be covering is that I followed up with the city of Clarksville concerning, from last episode, the looks that the public didn't know about the data center plans until a couple years after it had already been planned. And I got a response from the city, but it wasn't as complete as I would have liked it to been. It actually raised more questions for me. Also, we're going to be covering the fact that I've been looking into the background of the data center developers, the development company Server Farm, which is behind three of the LLCs that hold the land for the data center development. That would be No Trouble LLC, No Danger LLC, and SF Arc One LLC, all subsidiary companies of the AI data center development company Server Farm. But who runs those companies? Who is behind Server Farm? And it is actually a company that is out of a foreign country. Can you guess which one? That's what we'll be talking about today. Welcome back to Big Tech, Small Town.
Across the country, big tech is building massive facilities.
The construction of data centers is a growing political issue in Central Texas.
A data center boom.
Despite everything going on in the world today, all of the data center stuff and the stuff you hear about, what's going on in Iran, they shut down the Strait of Hormuz again because Israel had to go and mess up our peace deals, and despite all of this bad stuff going on in the world, a big comfort to me personally is reading the Psalms. And my favorite Psalm in particular is Psalm 139. And a section of it says, "Though I go up to the heavens, you are there. Though I make my bed in hell, you are there." It also says, "For the night will shine like the daytime, for the night is like daytime to you." And just reminds us, even though things are dark, sometimes because the world around us is dark, things are going on, or sometimes because of our own doing, our own sin and us messing up, that no matter what, we cannot escape God's hand on our lives if we've put our faith and trust in Him, and He has called us by name to be His people, to be Christians. There's no way we can get away from God. He's right there with us no matter what. And so it's just one of my favorite encouraging Psalms. And I don't want to be all dismal and promoting victimhood and distraughtness on the show. I want to be uplifting and just share information. And that's something that's been encouraging to me lately, especially with all the information that I have been intaking. All right, but right off the top of the show, let me pull out my slideshow, and we're going to get started going through my updates to the investigation today. And let me go full screen here. Okay. Investigation updates as of today. So starting out, I sent an email to the city of Clarksville, to their HR representative, which is basically the city representative. That is the lady. Her name is Wynette Holland, and she's the one that I got the FOIA response from, sending all the documents. So she is the representative for the city that I've been corresponding with. And to clarify, last episode I pointed out that it appears, according to the paper trail, that the public didn't know in an official capacity that the land that was being rezoned was for the purpose of a data center until 2 years after the plans took place. And so I asked some more poignant questions to the city about when exactly the people knew and found out. And so I asked these 5 questions. Number 1, at the December 7th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 6 p.m., was it disclosed during the meeting that the rezoning request for the 56.88 acres was for the purpose of developing a data center? She responded, her response is in red. This is what she sent back to me to what I sent to her. She said, yes. I want to point out that there wasn't any documentation given of that. But I'll leave that neither here nor there at this point. Because we'll get to it in the end, but this investigation has gotten a lot bigger than just Clarksville. It's getting into the corporations behind data centers as a whole. But she says, yes, no documentation of that. I don't see in the paper trail. And she actually to my view, somewhat contradicts that statement in the last question that I asked, but we'll keep going. Question 2. Were any members of the public in attendance at the December 7th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 6 p.m.? And she said one person signed in. That is true. I fact checked that, and one person did sign in. So there was one person there, but still, there is no, I apparently have all documents associated with all meetings that were held, and I still haven't found in the documents where it was mentioned explicitly that this land was being rezoned for a data center. So I'm still wondering if that person showed up from the public and listened to this entire meeting, did they know that it was for the purpose of a data center that they were rezoning this land? And to the documents that I've received, which I've been told are all the documents of all the meetings, I still haven't seen that explicitly told to the public at this point. Okay, question 3. Was public notice given in advance for the December 14th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 5:30 p.m.? If so, could you please provide or point me to any documentation of that notice? And she said it was sent to the press on December 13th, 2022. Okay, so this was the meeting where they first were looking over the data center preliminary plans, the more detailed plans, and it appeared in the documents that I received that there was no notice given, right? And I want to be very clear, there wasn't a normal notice given. Normally, the notice that is given is put in the local newspaper, which is the Johnson County Graphic. This one is different than all of those other notices that were given to the public. This notice was not sent to the Johnson County Graphic, and I'll get into that later. But this one was particularly different than the others, okay? And so I just want to point that out. It is not the same. You know, every other meeting that they had on rezoning land from 2024 all the way to the present had public notice given beforehand in the Johnson County Graphic. This is the only one that I can see that doesn't. And it was omitted from my original FOIA request, and I had to request it in this email chain. And it was different. It was different than the normal public notices that are given. She said yes, it was sent on December 13th. And then I asked number 4, were any members of the public in attendance at the December 14th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 5:30 p.m.? She said nobody signed in, so nobody attended that meeting. The 5th question I asked was prior to June 27th, 2024, which is the first Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that we see that the public signed in and was present, and it was mentioned to the public that it was a data center, and they had somebody there talking about the data center, talking about how great it was going to be. It was a representative of the developers via Zoom call, I think it was, or teleconference, talking about it. That at June 27th, 2024 is the first documented instance where I can assuredly say, according to the papers, that the public knew. Before that, I cannot say with surety that the public knew that all this rezoning of land was for a data center, or that all this planning for data centers was happening. And I still suspect that they didn't know. I still suspect that they did not know. And I will point out why later. That is my opinion. That is my sense that I get from the information that I have. So I just want to put that allegedly. This is Zach Reardon's opinion. Okay. And so I asked them that, and she said, in your previous FOIA request, which is the FOIA request the only FOIA request that I requested, I attached all the documents from Planning and Zoning, Board of Adjustment, and City Council. That includes all the press notifications for public hearings that were sent to the press. Okay. Well, I responded to her and I said, thank you again for your response and for answering my clarifying questions. I wanted to follow up regarding the December 7th and December 14th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. In your response, you stated that public notice for the 14th, 2022 meeting was sent to the press on December 13th. However, after reviewing the public notice documents included in the FOIA response, I was not able to locate the notice dated December 13th, 2022, or a notice specifically announcing the December 14th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Because this, whether it was just an oversight on her part, which I can completely accept, or if it might have been intentional, I can't say either way. This statement is not true. I did not have all of the press notifications for public hearings. They did not include that one in my FOIA request, and I had to specially request it here. And then I said, I have attached screenshots of the public notice documents I received for reference. And I sent her all the ones I had. Could you please clarify whether a copy of December 13, 2022 notice exists? And if so, could you provide a copy or let me know where it could be found? Additionally, was the December 14, 2022 meeting considered a regular meeting, a special meeting, or an emergency meeting? The reason I asked that question was because if it was a special or emergency meeting, there's different freedom of information laws that apply to each one as to when the public has to be notified, the deadline that the public has to be notified. There's laws surrounding that. You have to give so many days notice. So I wanted to specify, have a representative of the city specify what kind of meeting it was. So that's why I asked that question. I also wanted to follow up regarding the December 7th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. In your response, you indicated that one member of the public signed in for that meeting. However, I do not appear to have or received a sign-in sheet for December 7th. That was just an oversight. They just didn't send me that sign-in sheet. One person did sign in to that meeting, so one person was present. I would like to get in contact with that person if I can and see if the meeting contained any kind of indication that this land was being rezoned for data center. So if you are that person who attended that meeting, or if you know that person that attended that meeting, have them reach out to me, zachreardonmedia@gmail.com. I'd like to hear from you. I have attached screenshots of the sign-in sheets I received. Anyway, I was just telling her, I sent her what I had, and she sent me the two things that I was needing, which was the sign-in sheet. And I'm not going to release that here because I want to try to get in contact with that person, specifically myself. And I don't want people who are just regular folks to be blasted because of this. I just want them to be able to live their normal lives and not be caught up in it. And so I'm not providing that information publicly, even though it is publicly available. Okay, she responded, and she said, she attached the December 14th meeting stuff and the December 14th meeting notice. And then she said that the December 14th meeting was a regular meeting. So the city said, in my question to whether this was a regular meeting or a special meeting, that the December 14th meeting, which was the first time that they reviewed the data center plans and approved them, was a regular meeting. Okay. And she sent me the notification to the press on December 13, 2022. This one's different in that, and you saw in other episodes that they gave notice to the Johnson County Graphic. This one was sent to some radio stations, 4029 News, which is a Northwest Arkansas local news company, the Courier News, which is another Arkansas news outlet, and then it looks like a few radio stations. And she said there will be a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. to discuss the preliminary site plan that was presented for the data center, and then the budget meeting on Thursday. That's a different meeting. I searched 4029 News. I searched Courier News. I don't listen to those radio stations or know how to access any archives from there, if you even can. But I can definitely from 4029 News or Courier News, I didn't find any documentation that this information was ever released to the public. So it seems as if the city of Clarksville sent it to these press outlets and they never aired it and they never said anything about it. So therefore it didn't matter that they sent this because it didn't notify anybody. And my newest question is, why was this notice different than all the other notices? Okay. If it was a regular meeting and that, excuse me, that means a regular meeting, you should know ahead of time because you're planning on it. If it was a regular meeting, why couldn't we get it in the regular way to the Johnson County Graphic like all the other notices? Why is this one specifically different? And this also being the first meeting where they're talking about the data center site plan specifically in a meeting. That's my newest question. Could be a logical explanation for it, but that's my question. And I couldn't find any evidence that 4029 News or the Courier News or any of these outlets aired or wrote about this meeting happening in Clarksville on this date. So it doesn't look like this notification went anywhere. If anybody has any information, maybe you listen to these radio stations and they mentioned it on the radio station and you heard it, please reach out to me and let me know, because I don't want to be factually incorrect. So reach out to me and let me know, zachreardonmedia@gmail.com, if you received a notice of this through any of these outlets listed here. Okay, so I was like, well, it was a regular meeting. And I went to the Clarksville city website because they have things posted there and they have an archive of meeting agendas that are supposed to be released. I think the law is in Arkansas that you're supposed to release regular meeting agendas 3 days ahead of time on a public website or in a public form of some way to meet the Freedom of Information Act laws. And so since the city confirmed to me that it was a regular meeting, I went to their city website to see if that agenda was posted in a timely manner. Their records for that, for agendas for the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings only go back to 2025. So what I went to do is go on the Wayback Machine, which is a machine that archives websites, like previous versions of websites. So I could go back in time and see what the website looked like last year, the year before. And I couldn't find anywhere where it had the agendas archived or a place to even access the agendas at all. I didn't even see an option for that. So I just went to their community calendar, and this date was archived December 9th, 2022. Excuse me. And there's nothing on this calendar. And then this one's February 1st, 2022, and there's nothing on the December 2022 calendar. So this is just saying I can't find, this might just be the way that Wayback archives it, and I'm just a dummy and it doesn't amount to anything. Okay, that's totally fine. Maybe it didn't archive all those dates that's usually filled with, and I'm totally I think that's probably the case. I'm just saying that I've done my due diligence. I've tried to go back and find and confirm if the public was ever notified before that December 14th meeting, which was the meeting where they were in depth talking about the data center details themselves. And it concerns me because it's the first time they were talking about the data center in detail in a public meeting, and there's no members of the public present, and I can find no evidence that the public even knew that it was happening, despite the city claiming that it was a regular meeting. So this evidence, I tried to do my due diligence, and there's no place on the Wayback Machine that showed that this information was ever available on the public website, and that could be just Wayback, and that's totally fine. But it was the statement that the city told me that the December 14th meeting was a regular meeting. It wasn't a special meeting, and it wasn't an emergency meeting. It was a regular meeting, which means it's a planned regular meeting. Well, on the Planning and Zoning Commission website, on the City of Clarksville website, it says the Planning and Commission meets the fourth Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. The meeting is held at the City Administration Building located at 205 Walnut Street. Okay. So this here describes, and this is in the city's words, what the regular meetings are. If you look at the December 2022 calendar, and I scrolled back on my phone to find this, December 14th, 2022 was the second Wednesday of the month. I thought odd. They just said here that the regular meetings are the fourth Thursday of every month. So how did they classify December 14th, which is the second Wednesday of the month, as a regular meeting? Strikes me as strange. That's contradictory to me, especially because of Arkansas law and legal precedent. A meeting of a government body or commission that is not the body's regularly scheduled meeting time is considered a special or emergency meeting. This is according to Arkansas Code Section 2519-106B 1 and 2. This distinguishes regular meetings from special or emergency meetings. And then Arkansas Attorney General Opinion 95-308, which expressly characterizes any meeting other than the regular scheduled meeting of a body as a special or emergency meeting. So I'm just a little bit confused and conflicted because the city said it was a regular meeting, and according to the law and legal precedent, it can't be. It can't be. And according to their own website, it can't be a regular meeting. So I would just like to know what's going on there. I wasn't originally given the correspondence from the city notifying those 4029 News and Courier News and those few news outlets that this meeting was happening. They excluded that information from the package, and I would like to know why they did that. Number one. Number two, it was different. It was a different notice than all other notices they give of public meetings in the Johnson County Graphic. And then number three, they claim that it is a regular meeting when, according to their own website, put away Arkansas law and legal precedent. According to their own website, it couldn't be a regular meeting. So I just find that exceedingly strange. And that's where I'm in on that investigation into the legal documents right now. But then I received this screenshot, and I've been holding on to this screenshot for a while because I didn't know exactly what to do with it. I didn't know if I should release it, how I should release it. And I think now is the right time because this is Zach's opinion, my opinion, allegedly. Okay. This is me. Okay. Nobody sue me. Please, City of Clarksville, don't sue me. This is Zach's opinion. Nobody cares. Okay. It appears to me that according to the documents, the public was left in the dark. I haven't found any evidence up to 2024, any concrete proof that the public knew about this data center coming to town. I can't find it. I'm open to correction. Nobody's been able to correct me in a way that I see fit, bulletproof wise. And so I am getting the feeling, even as somebody who doesn't live in Clarksville, who has I have no bias in the game. I don't live there, never lived there. I don't have any kind of connections there, except I have a family member that lives near there. And so I have no dog in the fight. This is just somebody from on the outside looking in. This looks like a deal that was done way ahead of time that the public had no idea about. And it was just kind of, pressed upon them. That's what it looks like to me. And that's my opinion, and that's my show. And I'm allowed to have that opinion. And so I think this would be the right time to release this screenshot. My sources in Clarksville, which include some of the family members of the previous landowners of where the data center is going, have reached out to me, and I've been in contact with them. These are people that own the land that the data center is going on before the data center developers bought it. I've been in contact with some of them. I'm not going to name which ones because I don't want any sort of harassment or anything like that. I'm going to keep my sources very protected. I don't want them to be harassed for trying to speak up and tell the truth. And I've been told that the landowners were screwed over. I'm trying to right now work out exactly how they were screwed over and what their full stories are. But this screenshot of a Facebook exchange between the family member of one of the previous owners of the data center land and the mayor of Clarksville have an interaction on Facebook. And I'm going to read that to you. The family member of the previous landowner writes, "It's impressive to me that the people here haven't gathered all the evidence and can't say this will be a positive for our community without talking about the money aspect of it. Ah, yes, a ghost company is looking to invest in our community. Look through meeting minutes to find the company name, then review the other locations of theirs and their impact. Our community leadership steamrolls lifelong residents. These plans were made years before asking the owner if they would sell. When the mayor texts you 3 years prior with that, I would like to discuss the plans we have for your property. Tell me how you would react. How exciting." So this indicates to me that the family that previously owned this particular plot of land that the data center is on, and I'm not going to be revealing who because I want to protect my connections and protect my sources, that the city was reaching out to landowners, right? Talking about plans they have for their property and that sort of thing. And it seems like they didn't know exactly what for, right? And so let me see here. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. I forgot to blur out a name. I'll do that in post production. I will blur that name out. Sorry. That's why I was pausing. God, I'm such a crazy guy. I've been running around all day. But anyway, the mayor of Clarksville, and this exchange happened on November 24th, 2025. This is how he responded to this individual, the family of the people who owned this plot of land before the data center developers bought it. He said, "Because the developer asked us to reach out to property owners, they wanted to research." Yes, it was 3.5 years ago. So 3.5 years ago, at this time, we'll put it about sometime in early 2022. Your family wasn't the only ones they inquired about, but congratulations on the historic land deal. That might be the largest in Johnson County history. Much due diligence has been done. The city only facilitates what the business owners, investors want. and there are no ghosts here. We have met and spoken to all parties involved, and we're not operating in the dark. There are NDAs and state statutes surrounding economic development that direct what we can and cannot legally discuss publicly, and when it's okay to do so. It's the Economic Development Act of 2017, and we follow those laws, okay? This seems like a contradictory comment from the mayor of Clarksville to this individual, because this is my take. This is Zach Reardon, how Zach Reardon is putting this information together and assessing this information. In 2022, the data center developers asked the city to reach out to landowners to find land to develop the center on. So first of all, at the very beginning, and the mayor admits, the corporation is running the show. Server Farm and Vaughn Property Group and the developers are running the show. And the city is just basically doing whatever they want. Okay? That's how this message reads to me, right? The mayor states that the city facilitates what big tech corporations want. That's another point I took away from this. Zach's opinion. There was information surrounding the development of data center that were not disclosed due to NDAs and state laws. He said himself here, we have met and spoken to all parties involved, and we're not operating in the dark. And then the very next sentence, he says there are NDAs and state statutes surrounding economic development that direct what we can and cannot legally discuss. So he admits in his own message where he's saying they're not operating in the dark, that they're operating in the dark. It might be forced on by the corrupt Arkansas government that they operate in the dark because they're corrupt. And they're holding them to that, but they are operating in the dark, whether it's legally required or not. They are. He just contradicted himself in this own message, in my view. He cites the Economic Development Act of 2017. I was going to get into that today, but I haven't been able to print that off and really read through it and make notes on it yet, so I'm not going to speak on that until I've read it in full. But he cites the Economic Development Act of 2017 as the reason why they couldn't talk about some of the information regarding what the property would be used for until later on, pretty much after the property had already been approved to be a site of a data center. That's how I read this message. This is Zach Reardon's opinion, allegedly. Okay, so now that we got all that, that's pretty much the end of... Wait a minute. Sorry, guys, I just realized something live. The Economic Development Act of 2017, and we follow those laws. Hold on. In one of the documents, do I have it right here? Yeah. Yeah, here it is. So this is June 27th, 2024, Clarksville Planning and Zoning Commission. This is the first bulletproof confirmation meeting where the public was present and they were talking about bringing the data center to town, and they had that data center developer representative on via teleconference to talk about how great the data center is going to be and all of this stuff. Right here, the data center developer representative states that there are several things that Clarksville has implemented that make them a key site for the data center. Fiber investments, incentives from local governments. So it's saying that Clarksville has implemented some incentive from the local government. That's stated in the Clarksville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes for June 27th, 2024, under New Business, Section B, line I. Incentives from local governments. And it's just coming to me here live that the Economic Development Act of 2017 is that local government incentive. Very interesting. It just kind of clicked to me on live. So I'm glad that came to me. I'm going to look into that, and that'll be available next episode. As well as this, apparently an organization that has been popping up in Arkansas to promote data center expansion, which I shared on Facebook, that I'm also going to be covering next episode as well. But I promised this episode that I would get into some facts about Server Farm. Server Farm is the big California, what I thought was California, but it actually goes back to another foreign country. And I put out a question today on my Facebook, asking people what foreign country they thought this company was out of and its owners were out of. And some of you got it right, especially people on Instagram overwhelmingly got it right. And if you guessed Israel, you would be absolutely correct. You guys, I am not. In fact, I'm going to walk through this with you to show you that I wasn't trying to start a conspiracy theory. Okay, I was not trying to blame Israel for everything. This is not. That's not what I was trying to do. I literally just stumbled across it, and so I'm going to share this. So this is what I did, because the owner of that, all the server farm LLCs like SF, which is Server Farm Arc One LLC, No Trouble LLC, No Danger LLC, all those LLCs were founded and managed by Avner Papachaudo. Avner Papachaudo, I've already discussed, is the founder and CEO of Server Farm, which is the AI development company out of California. Oh, and that's the extent of it, I thought, until I looked into it. I went to the Server Farm data center website, and I went to the About, and I went to Avner Papachaudo. So this is serverfarmllc.com. And it tells you, Avner Papachaudo has been guiding Forest behind Server Farm since its inception 10 plus years ago. He's the founder and CEO with 25 years in the industry. He's been an instrumental force in internet infrastructure, modernizing, sustainable, a bunch of buzzwords, yada, yada, yada. He has this degree and that degree. He has this stuff. He's got all kinds of qualifications. Second paragraph. As Red Sea Group's North American CEO since 1993 and an active member of the executive management team responsible for the company's worldwide investment strategy, Papachaudo has a proven track record of successful real estate investments. Interesting. How do you go from real estate to AI data centers? Interesting to me. So I wanted to know what the Red Sea Group was. So I went to the Red Sea Group website. And so I'm going to share that with you as well. Let me stop this one. And I'm going to share Red Sea Group. So I'm going to go to the home page. Red Sea Group. In today's ever-changing global landscape of real estate development entrepreneurship, the Red Sea Group is a collective of real estate companies operating worldwide in development, construction, and management of projects of all scales, specializing in hotel, real estate, data center markets, as well as complementary services and upmarket sectors. So they basically build and develop anything. Okay, they've got their hand in all the cookie jars. Okay, then I looked over here at our companies. They have these are all the companies that are under the Red Sea Group, that are owned by the Red Sea Group. They got Park Plaza. They've got Red Sea Israel, which is the parent company. That's what struck my attention. They've got Arena Tourist. They've got Art Hotel. They've got Gear Construction, and they've got this right here. Well, that's the Server Farm logo. You got the S and the F. It looks like this one right here. See in that corner? Server Farm. Is that showing up for y'all? No, it doesn't. But anyway, it looks like it's the same logo as the Server Farm logo, and you can see that here because their hotels division of the Red Sea Group is PPHE Hotels Group. Their hotels development is Gear Construction. They have residential development, and then they have data centers, which is the Server Farm. So I concluded from this, Server Farm is a company that is owned by the Red Sea Group. Okay, and if you go to the About Us section, Red Sea Group is a real estate company operating worldwide. Basically the same thing that was on the homepage. You go to management, and you got Eli Papachaudo. He's the founder and major shareholder of the Red Sea Group, pioneer in Israel's hotel industry, developer of the milestone Aviva Sonesta Hotel and Taba and many other hotels, a true entrepreneur with the businessman's eye for opportunity and extensive experience in upgrading holdings through an understanding of market conditions and potential. And then you've got his son, and I've confirmed that's his son, Yoav Papachaudo. Mr. Papachaudo, CEO of the group, Between this date and this date, he served on the company's board of directors. 1998, he was appointed chairman of the board. Mr. Papacciotto has a bachelor in economics from Tel Aviv University. You have Avner Papacciotto. He's the CEO of Server Farm, which here on this website they call Server Farm Realty. He's head of the group's data centers operations in the U.S. since 1993. Mr. Papacciotto is also an active member of the executive management of the Red Sea Group worldwide. Mr. Papacciotto has a BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts, from the New School for Social Research in New York. And then you got Ronnie Hirsch, which is he's the CEO. He's been with the company since 1993. He was previously with KPMG Israel. Mr. Hirsch is a CPA with a bachelor's in accounting and economics from Tel Aviv University. So, yeah, I didn't have to search very far. Oh, another thing I wanted to get into. Didn't have to search very far to figure out that this was a Israeli real estate company. It's an Israeli company, and they have a global presence. If you go to global presence, you can look at the map here. You can see all of their American office locations. But if you go over here to the one in Israel, you see Israel, which is the Red Sea Group headquarters right there. And you can also confirm that by going to the Contact Us page up here and scrolling down. And their Red Sea Group contact address is 8 Hasadonat Street, Herzliya, 46 blah blah blah, Israel. And we know based on the map that I just showed earlier that is the Red Sea Group's headquarters. And so that's how I figured that out. And so that is the answer. There's people asking in the comments, okay, so what country is it? What's the answer? There's your answer. The country that these companies are run from is Israel, and that's a fact. No conspiracy theory here. And I just stumbled upon it, wasn't even trying. And it seems like even when I don't try, the conspiracy theories find me. It's almost like some of them are true. I don't know. We shall see. I'm going to do more research on that. So I'm going to share my slideshow again to see if I've got anything else to share. Yeah, founder and CEO of Server Farm, AI data center development company owned by the Red Sea Group. This is Avner Papacciotto, member of the executive management team of the Red Sea Group, an Israeli real estate company, and he's a member of the Papacciotto family, an Israeli business family, and I'm looking into the history of that business family right now. I found an article about it, a very extensive article, and wow, it goes back all the way to 1964, before the conflict between Egypt and Israel, and it's connected to the Sinai Peninsula and all of that stuff. It goes back deep. So I'm going to be getting into all of that, but I'm not going to speak on it until I get all my information on it. So that is all that I have for you today. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to support this show and you want some behind the scenes access, I post investigation updates, document commentary. I do some member only Q&As. You get to partner directly with me in my investigations. You can head over to patreon.com/Zach Reardon, patreon.com/Zach Reardon, and the link will also be in the description of this video if you want to support me in that. If you have any information on any of the topics that I discussed today, do not hesitate to reach out and send me your tips to zachreardonmedia@gmail.com. That is zachreardonmedia@gmail.com. I'm going to do tons more researching and tons more information gathering, and I will see all of you next week on Big Tech, Small Town. See you later.